Hey guys, Elliot here. There's been a lot of talk lately in the Facebook group about AI agents, estimating, site walkthroughs. How are we using AI in all of our estimating? And so there have been some really good conversation about it, and I've expressed my concerns about safety and security, especially if you're a construction business owner and you're not necessarily tech savvy and you don't understand technology or coding or any of that stuff. There's a lot of places that you could have some pitfalls and could do some real damage. So you just need to be careful. And so a lot of people turn around and say, okay, well, how do we do it safely? What do we do? So I'm going to show you some examples of how to do it safely, and just some, again, these are examples. You'll have to go and tweak it yourself. AI is not smart. It's only as smart as you instruct it to be. So your prompting has to be good. Your instructions have to be good, your fallbacks and different paths, and you have to give it options to do different things. That's what makes it feel smart, right? So a lot of this stuff, if you don't have it built out, and when I say built out, I mean like the templates and the examples that it needs to look at. It doesn't just read your mind and know what to do. So let's just start here at the beginning. And let's say I'm in OpenAI, I'm in ChatGPT, I have a project. And what's cool about projects is you can add files and add a prompt and instructions. So I've got these instructions here. If you use these instructions word for word, it's not going to work for you, right? They work for me. You're going to have to come up with your own instructions. And I say stuff like use existing cost codes, respond to concise thoughts, look at project files. And project files are these down here. And I've got two PDFs of scopes of work that I really like how I worded the scope of work. So it's going to read that for scope. I've got a job budget here, a job that I put together and I really like it. I have my templates. I have my addition template. I have my kitchen bathroom templates. These are all the templates straight from the DataX template library. I tweaked it for myself and I put those in here. I have a deck budget that I really like. I have my catalog so it can read all the items I already have in JobTread. I have my cost codes, cost types, my units. I have a water damage budget. And just these are things that I've already built. I built these by hand exactly how I want them to, and I'm feeding it here to give it good examples on what to build. So this is my project, my scope of work project. So a lot of talk about how are we capturing the detail. So I use Granola. It's on your phone. It's a recorder, and it does AI transcripts and summaries based on templates that you build and instruct it to work on. And so this is what it came out to. And I walked around 1, 2, 3, 4 properties in a neighborhood talking about some punch list items. And this is the summary it built. I'm not going to use this. I'm actually going to go up here and take the entire transcript. Hit this button here. Take this entire transcript of this walkthrough. I'm going to post it here. But at first I'm going to say, use this transcript of my walkthrough for a punch on several houses and build a budget with scope of work and groupings how I like them, along with the cost items for labor and material that you think I need for this project. Okay. Shift enter. Here's my transcript. Hit go. Okay, so now it's going, it's thinking, it's pumping out some stuff. Just want to point out I'm using ChatGPT 5.2 auto. You can change this if you want. If you want it to think longer or give faster answers, use different legacy models. This is just kind of default what it's going through. So now let's see what it's got. General conditions, exterior caulking, okay. Budget structure, okay, now let's get into the structure, which is fine. But one thing I know it's not doing. Okay, so in my instructions, I explicitly asked it to convert it into a CSV-based document so I could download it and import it directly into JobTread based on one of the I have like a blank CSV job budget template, and it didn't do that. And now it's saying it can. So now I have to reiterate that I want that. So we got our download file, but it's saying, here's the JobTread template format. Great. Things. If you'd like, I can now do this other stuff. Add pay phases. It should have done that already. It's in my instructions. But you see, I'm giving instructions and I'm doing all this stuff, and it's still second guessing or just asking for permission to do stuff. And so, but again, we're talking about safe ways to do something. So I've got my download. Okay, so now I'm just in my office job, and let's import this and see what it looks like. And the reason I give it so many examples of what to do, and I give it my cost codes and cost items, is so when I map here, I don't have to click in so many buttons and map. It mapped all these budget columns. Great. But see, now the idea was I wouldn't have to do all this. And it doesn't do it correctly, right? And I think that's everybody's concern. But so this is the easy way to do it. It's a safe way to do it. There is some tweaking you need to go through in here. And it did a cost item for labor and material on each one rather than the grouping that I like. Okay, so this is the example it popped out. Maybe the scope of work reads really well, but it didn't get the cost items. And I think this is a really good place to start. It's not a bad AI estimator. It really helps on the hard things. For me, personally, writing the scope of work is one of the hardest parts. I can pump out cost items pretty quickly. It's always writing this to make it feel better. So, okay, so we talked about the OpenAI project as our estimator. So it kind of did it. This is a safe way. And like I said, I took my Granola. So if we back up and think about what we did, I took my Granola notes, pumped it into a ChatGPT project that was supposed to be trained on how I want things to work. Gives me a CSV. I upload it into JobTread. Pretty simple. It's a really good way to get a strong foundation for an estimate. Okay, so now here's the second way, and then my current way of using AI for estimating. And this it might look a little crazy, and it's a little bit more technical, but again, it's still safe, it's still easy to do. So if I'm using this thing called Claude Code. So I don't use OpenAI, I don't prefer OpenAI, I prefer Anthropic's Claude. And with that subscription, along with OpenAI subscription, you get this thing called Claude Code for Anthropic or Codex for OpenAI. And both of those can be installed as plugins in a coding environment. So I type code in this program called VS Code. This is where I type code and build things for DataX, but it also works really well. Claude Code AI plugin, it reads files really well. And so what I have is a folder structure here, and you probably have to zoom in a little bit, but I've got 3 folders. I've got an estimates folder broken out by different jobs. I have JobTread data, where I keep my cost catalog, cost codes, cost type units, and then my blank templates. All of this is the exact same that we used inside of our project and our ChatGPT project, but I have have all the same stuff in here. And I have different prompts. I have a draw schedule prompt and estimating, insurance specific. If we're doing an insurance job, I want it to do it differently. And then I've got Claude.md, which is my instructions on how I want it to do this. Now you'll notice if I scroll real quick, this file for the instructions is really big. And then I've got 3 more instructions for insurance, estimating. I'm scrolling just to see how big it is. And draw schedule. And so these prompts are larger, and this is something that you're not really able to do very well in a project inside of OpenAI or inside of Claude, or maybe even Gemini. So like I said, I use these plugins for this text editor. So I'm using Claude Code. I've got all this stuff in here, all the stuff we've talked about already. I just have it in here organized. And if I want to do a new estimate, I'll create a new folder and we'll say 1, 2, 3 tests. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this estimate notes. I can paste my transcript. And then I'm going to go to my AI and say, here is the transcript from a punch list walkthrough I did for several houses in the same neighborhood. Create an estimate for this project. And that's all I'm going to say, because all the prompting is over here. And we're going to say, we're going to have it planned first. We're going to have it go. And so now it's going to think, and it's going to have it in plan mode, is where it's going to take extra time to go and make a plan. And it's going to read me its plan before it creates anything. So I can go and tweak the plan afterwards. So we'll let it run and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, so it took about 7 minutes to get to this point. Now it looks like it's got 2 questions here. Is the fence reattachment in the scope for this estimate? It is not reattached to the new siding. No, exclude it. This is a small punch list. Should I include the full general conditions? So the general conditions is a thing I have in my budget. It pulls out for bigger projects. It pulls out my project management, my admin, just all my cost plus admin stuff. It pulls it out into a general conditions cost group. And that's what it's asking here. Do we need to do the full thing because it's such a small project? We'll say no, it's just a lean scope of work only. So those were great questions it asked, just to clarify. It has a plan. If we look up here, we can see everything it did. It made a to-do list and knocked that out. Calculated totals and pay phases. And then it said, good, I have research. Let me write the plan and ask a couple clarifying questions. So it's going and thinking, and now it's going in here and revising. So we'll come back when it's ready with the plan. Okay, that only took 30 seconds. Let's look at the plan it's got here. Scroll to where the plan starts. So here's the plan. We've got these places, the work that's needed. We excluded here because fence reattachment is out of the scope. No work needed at these places. Not in budget was this one, busting frozen faucet spigot, not in our trade. Interesting. Oh, and now it's running top to bottom our estimate structure. So our pay fade is at the top because it's small. It just broke it 50-50, cool. And then it broke it down by address. We got our labor and material. I'm curious how it's going to break those up as cost items. Okay. So once you like the plan, you say yes, and I'll accept the plan, or you say no, keep planning, or tell it some adjustments to make. So I like this plan, so we're just going to go here. And again, this will take some time, so we'll come back when it's ready. Okay, so we're back, and it finished all of its thoughts. So it did some verification checks, which is cool. And here's our budget. So let's go over here. And so you'll notice in this folder, here's my notes, and it's going to pump out a CSV here. So we're actually going to take that CSV, and we're going to import it. You'll notice it grabs all the column names perfectly. You'll notice I didn't have to do any mapping for units or cost codes, which is really cool. What I like about the system I've got set up. We can go look in here, look at our pay phases. Sweet. It's got our pay phases broken out. We've got our scope of work by each house. We got our labor and materials. Cool. The materials here. And it's taking the cost items that are already in the catalog, because I'm teaching it what that is. It's taking our, it's doing our cost group with the labor and materials inside of each address, which is how we asked it to do it. And it just knows from doing it so often. So there you go. So I could take this job, take all this scope of work, turn it into a new budget, and then I could track my pay phases, how I do in a separate group here. So that's another way on how AI, and that was just taking, if we go back to the beginning, we just took our AI transcript from Granola, put it into this system that we had built using Claude Code, and it pumps out exactly what we need to. But again, none of that would work if we didn't have all of the example templates and example documents already, so it knows exactly how it needs to build it out. Another example is if we have, let's say, Claude or ChatGPT desktop. We could do it in a project in here, which is the same as what I showed you earlier, but different. With Claude, it has these two things called co-work, and we can do our Claude Code here. But this co-work thing is where it can touch your computer and it can work in a folder on your computer where you can put stuff and have instructions and do everything. You see, I don't have it set up. I don't use it. But Claude Cowork could be a really good option for that as well. Again, you just need to be safe, do safe things. And if you're not technical, get someone to help you set it up, or maybe just don't worry about it for now. And to set it up probably took a few hours over a few days of just tinkering with it, right? And so all of that time, if you just had your parameters set up, you could just go tap, 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 and pump out kitchens and bathrooms or whatever, or decks, whatever you had, templated jobs with formulas and parameters. So there's not always a need for AI estimating. I think we just buy into the hype a little bit. For punch list stuff, I like to use it. As I just showed you, it helps with that stuff. But if you're doing something that's templated or could use formulas, I think there's no need. You can just do parameters pretty quickly, especially with all this stuff built into JobTread. So. Here's some things that I think are the next step for what I've already built, or maybe for something that you've already built. Next step would be incorporating the DataX MCP server, which is a multi-context protocol server, which just helps your AI talk to JobTread. We built a connection where they talk together. So setting that up, so when I'm doing this and say, hey, instead of exporting the CSV and importing it, it could just look at the job and just create it in the job for me. And from there, I could do a bunch of other stuff. I could look at my documents. I could look at the schedule, time logs, daily logs, all this stuff. So that'd be maybe one of the next steps I do. Something else I would love to do is maybe hook up Zapier to Granola to send the transcript immediately. As soon as it's done, send the transcript to my AI to start doing the estimating process. So I don't have to set it up manually and type in, copy and paste. And so that would be an automation step to get my notes from my AI transcription recording, Granola, directly into the AI estimator. And so, like we just saw here, the one I like, the setup that I like that works really well, takes about 20-30 minutes to get a working budget, but it's really good, so it's worth it. So if I did that, it would be ready by the time I got home if I just set up some automations there. And those are just some ideas on like next steps. This is never done. As business owners, we're always looking for the next thing and trying to make it better and always tweaking. There's a quick run through of my AI estimating setup. Hopefully it helps. If you have questions, reach out. Love to talk about this stuff. Like to nerd out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.